What if everything we know about dreams was wrong? What if dreams were not a creation of your mind, but rather an escape into a different reality? Beyond the wall of sleep is the H.P. Lovecraft imagining of this vision. Bear witness to the majesty of what happens when you close your eyes at night. Whilst the greater number of our nocturnal visions are perhaps no more than faint and fantastic reflections of our waking experiences, Freud to the contrary, with his puerile symbolism, there are still a certain remainder whose mundane and ethereal character permits of no ordinary interpretation. As explained in the quote, dreams to most are just dreams made up by our minds at night. There are a select few that can actually dream of something so fantastical that it can be more real than reality itself, and that neuroscientists like Freud would not understand. Our unnamed narrator awakens in a mental institution where he is interning as a therapist. He talks about a strange patient named Joe Slater. Slater comes from a mountain region that is isolated from the rest of the world. So isolated, in fact, that they have become more primitive and barbaric in nature. Slater is suspected to be highly dangerous and is dragged into his cell by 4 policemen. The narrator finds very little evidence for this and thinks Slater is harmlessly stupid, but very strange. Slater does not know how to read or write. He barely speaks, but every few days when he wakes up in the morning, he goes into a crazy frenzy of vicious verbal and physical tantrums, spouting things like that he needed to kill a certain thing that shines and shakes and laughs. In between his hostile rants, he talks in his backwoods dialect of great edifices of light, oceans of space, strange music, and shadowy mountains and valleys. These things are too creative for a simple mind like his, which the narrator finds intriguing. His glowing, titanic visions, though described in a barbarous and disjointed jargon, were assuredly things which only a superior or even exceptional brain could conceive. For this reason, the narrator believes there is truth in Slater's lunacy. Back in his college years, the narrator created a device capable of telepathy. It had long been my belief that human thought consists basically of atomic or molecular motion, convertible into either waves of radiant energy like heat, light, and electricity. And although the device did not work back then, he had a feeling that things might be a little different on a patient like Slater. For many nights, the narrator would secretly place one end of the device on Slater's forehead and the other on his own cranium. Nothing happened until one night, the narrator opens his eyes to an ethereal realm. Everything was familiar to the narrator, which is strange because he had never seen it before. A being of light approached him, and without a word, the two communicated soul to soul. Some immeasurable time passes. A shock of electricity separates the narrator from the wondrous scene back into his earthly body. He wakes to the sight of an unconscious Slater, whose cheeks were white and sunken and lips that were thin and pale.
Joe Slater is dead. He is better dead for he was unfit to bear the active intellect of cosmic entity. His gross body could not undergo the needed adjustments between ethereal life and planet life. He was too much of an animal, too little a man, yet it is through his deficiency that you have come to discover me. For the cosmic and planet souls rightly should never meet. He has been my torment and diurnal prison for 42 of your terrestrial years. I am an entity like that which you yourself become in the freedom of dreamless sleep. I am your brother of light, and have floated with you in the effulgent valleys. I am not permitted to tell your waking earth self of your real self, but we are all roamers of vast spaces and travelers in many ages. Next year, I may be dwelling in the dark Egypt, which you call ancient, or in the more cruel empire of San-Chan, which is to become 3,000 years hence. You and I have drifted to the worlds that reel about the red Arcturus, and dwelt in the bodies of the insect philosophers that crawl proudly over the fourth moon of Jupiter.
Joe Slater has passed away, and the same being of light that once met the narrator in the ethereal realm is now communicating through Slater's body. This being and Slater have intertwined their souls in a sense, and the being of light has been waiting for him to pass on so that he could separate. Now it all makes sense. The being of light is to fight and conquer another entity in the sky, one that humans call Algol, the demon star. It is revealed that these entities are actually stars in the galaxy, and now that this one is no longer attached to an earthly presence, it is free to take its spot in the galaxy. The narrator is also tied to a different being of light, of which no more details were given. The weak body and mind of Joe Slater is what caused this bridge to be opened between man and a cosmic entity, and is why most people do not express fits of rage after waking up from similar dreams. Slater's body returns back to its lifelessness, and the narrator leaves the cell. The night after Slater passes away, a new star shone brightly in the sky. An article in the paper reads, "On February 22, 1901, a marvelous new star was discovered by Dr. Anderson of Edinburgh, not very far from Algol. No star had been visible at the point before. Within 24 hours, the strangers had become so bright that it outshone Capella. In a week or two, it had visibly faded, and in the course of a few months, it was hardly discernible with the naked eye." There are a few things to explore here. During the writing of this story, famous psychologist and neuroscientist Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud were publicizing ideas about unconsciousness, that dreams could be the gateway into the unconscious mind. Lovecraft said, "That's dumb and childish, and I'll write a story about why." He wrote this story, showing that the exact opposite of those theories would be a more interesting concept. The fact that dreams are gateways to alternative realities, which also fits perfectly into Lovecraft's reoccurring theme that humans are powerless in the face of an uncaring vast cosmos. The truth of the universe was shown to be terrifying enough to drive Slater mad. Even after seeing this, the narrator's obsession for knowledge leads him to build and test a telepathy machine. The narrator's pursuit to uncover the universe's mysteries through dreams is similar to that of Freud or Jung. But all the narrator was able to do was reveal potentially terrifying truths of higher forms of existence, showcasing how knowledge beyond human understanding can be dangerous and destabilizing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.